Hi, Scott. Welcome to Opening Credits.
Thank you for
thanks
having
for being our very first press junket guest.
And I'm honored to be here as the first guest.
Department Q is obviously quite a different project to take on after The Queen's Gambit, which you also wrote and directed. What made you take on a crime drama?
I love them. Is the short answer. I mean, going back to Dead Again and The Lookout and A Walk Among the Tombstones or Minority Report or even The Interpreter, they're all crime stories of a sort for me. Even Godless and Monsieur Spade, the one I just did, was definitely a crime story.
Yeah.
And so I just love them. And I didn't think I would go back to them, though. After Queen's Gambit, I wasn't sure if I wanted to do that. And then this all came together and I've also, at the same time, I was also watching a lot of British crime shows in the last 5 years, which had a huge impact on me because they're so good and everybody loves them and everybody I know is so addicted to them. And I've seen all of them. So I thought, I wanted to do something like that. And I'd always wanted to do a different sort of procedural with this book. Went back when I got the rights some 15 years ago. Okay. I really wanted to develop it as a series that I thought could be unusual at the time, at least. And so I thought this might be, I love the book. I love the story. I love there are certain visual ideas in it that I thought were tremendous that I really wanted to take on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that book is set in Copenhagen, and you've obviously
moved
that too. It is. I don't know if you know.
Oh, I made a huge mistake.
I was going to point out the error, but and you've obviously moved to Edinburgh, which is gorgeous. I used to live there. I have a big soft spot for the city. What came first? Did you start writing it and then decide to set it in Edinburgh, or what?
Edinburgh came first because we were trying to figure out where to set it because I didn't want to do. This show had already been made in Copenhagen as I think as movies. I'm not sure if it was done as a series. And also the whole, I've been saying a lot that the whole Scandi noir thing had been really played out for me in a way. Yeah. It was sort of, it was too familiar for me. And so I wanted to do, it was too familiar visually at least. Yeah. And so I wanted to do something different. I wanted to look different and feel different. And I thought, and the producer, Rob Bullock, thought that let's do it in Britain. And Rob said, have you ever been to Edinburgh? And I said, no. And once I went, I realized it was a pretty cinematic city.
Yeah.
It's incredible, isn't it?
It's gorgeous.
You go too far sometimes. And today was a perfect example.
What was I supposed to do? You left me hanging. You didn't let me use Kirsty's evidence.
She was not going to help you. She would have made it worse, in fact.
Well, without her, there was no evidence.
There's plenty of evidence. You had what you yourself described as a slam-dunk case, and then you proceeded to tell the jury just how convinced you were that the man in the box was a murderer.
Once the jury gets alone in a room, the facts of the case become the topic at hand, not how badly the killer might feel or how much love he had for his victim.
No one can say what a jury will do.
I'm just saying they know he did it.
Do they? Or do you just expect them to think you're right?
Where were some standout places that you shot? Did you have any favourites?
Well, I'll tell you, we shot on a ferry for 3 days up in Orkney, which I really enjoyed that, actually, because just driving up there was really great. Yeah. I mean, I loved shooting... I don't know what they're called, your version of courthouses, the city, the
town halls?
The town halls were great, and the exteriors there, especially at night, really beautiful with what's in the background. But I really love that. And I like just being in and around the little mews and the steps, all the steps. I could have shot on those steps all day, every day, except the cast would not have been happy with
it. It's exhausting. You're constantly going uphill in that city.
You're constantly going uphill in that city, but it's so beautiful. While you're gasping for and reaching for your inhaler, you're also looking up at these beautiful things all around you, monuments and churches and so on.
Kind of sport for choice, aren't you, in terms of locations? Because it's
everywhere you point the camera, there's something in the background.
It's almost a character in itself, isn't it?
Yeah. Without question.
How do you approach the characters being Scottish? And obviously there's quite a lot of Scottish English banter in there, and we We spotted a
The word
few.
Ned stuck in, some slang.
A
Some
bit
good
of Scottish slang.
Good
Yeah.
Scottish slang.
How did you come up with those?
Research.
Yeah.
I Google Scottish slang.
Is that it? You don't have like a Scottish mate that's telling you.
Sometimes someone would say something to me and
Yeah.
they would say, you know, what's this expression or that? But I have like all these websites, Scottish slang, and I go, oh, that's good. And then I would test it out. I would ask,
Yeah.
you know, is this a thing or no? And is it a common thing? Is it too common? Is it, you know, but it was mostly just playing around and what sounded good. And there's a lot of it in there. And a lot of people, I'm not sure they even know what they're referring to, but I don't care. It sounded, I really love the slang. I think the idiom is amazing.
Yeah.
Sometimes though, when our Glaswegian crew members would speak, I would have to take a minute. I would kind of, and we had the cinematographer was French and he's very fluent in English, but when someone from Glasgow would speak, you'd see his head just sort of tilt. He had to do the math.
Translator.
Translate, because some of the idioms are crazy.
Yeah. Did the cast ever sort of contribute as well? Did their own little
Sometimes
ad-libs or anything like
sometimes they would say, can I say this? Or frequently people, once in a while, they would absolutely. Or they would correct me of something, you know,
Yeah.
but I have to say, not often. We did our homework.
Yeah. Speaking of homework, as a former police detective myself,
Uh-oh.
I know.
Yeah. Don't be alarmed.
Lots of rules are broken. Kills me every time they open that bag without gloves on it. You know?
Right, that's my question now.
Yeah, sorry. I gave you one.
Yeah, similarly, I do look out for like the little small details, and like in the very opening scene where Mork tells the officer to like, keep his hands behind his back and little things like that. Did you do any research into real life police detectives when writing it?
Off and on throughout my career for various projects, tons of things. In fact, the hands behind your back or hands in your pockets came from a sheriff's department detective in LA I spent a lot of time with.
Yeah.
And, you know, I still quote him all the time. So there are things, you know, here and there. But the show was focused less on sort of physical evidence like a lot of shows are, you know, because I felt like people can do that better than I could, but maybe there's melodrama for them to sort out, the mystery of who did what, you know, and I thought that might be more interesting to focus more on that than anything else.
Yeah.
You say there's less physical bits, but you do have a crime board, which I think it's illegal to have a show like this and not have one.
Oh, you have to have a crime board. And I said, we're not going to have a crime board. That lasted all of 30 seconds. It's not even a very inventive one, but it is visual.
Yeah, as they always are.
Yeah, as they always
Lots
are.
of sort of red circles.
Yes,
and like,
yes.
It's a very good one. You can see it there.
Yeah,
there
it's
it
great.
is.
Great work by the graphics department.
I wanted to chat a little bit about the character of Akram Salim. He's my favourite, as I think he will be a lot of people's
I
favourites.
think he's going to be everyone's favorite.
He's a badass.
Yes.
He's going to be that, you know, Alexei is going to be impossible to deal with after. Do another season. He's going to want a big trailer. He's going to not want to talk to anyone.
Right,
Yeah.
so everyone's going to be slightly afraid of him.
Yeah, everyone's
You know,
going to be.
A bit mild-mannered, but you got to watch that.
It's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You read them?
Yes,
All of them?
well, many of them. Very interesting cases. Murders, kidnappings, rapes, assaults. I think many are good mysteries.
Good.
Worthy. At home in Syria, there are a lot of cases like this. Unsolved. People go missing, no one knows anything about it. Most of the time, I was the only one looking.
Well, you work for the police?
Sort of.
Sort of.
Well, it's complicated.
I loved when he obviously there's one part of the show where he's interrupted while he's praying, and then there's such a long wait before he tells him off for that, and it's so well done. And I wondered where the inspiration came from for that character and what you drew on.
I mean, he's in the book, and their relationship in the book is really interesting, but he's more kind of a janitor.
Yeah.
Functioning in the book as a janitor that way. And I just felt like we don't have time to get you interested in this guy. Yeah. I need to sort of show he has something else going on that Carl can appreciate sooner.
Yeah.
And so I love, because you could continue to peel back the layers of this character season after season. You can continue to learn about him and explore. And also the one thing I did that's a little different from the book is I made him a little more physical.
Okay.
Yeah.
But subtly.
The subtle ways, yeah. You wouldn't expect it. And then
no, it's like, whoa, did he just do that? But it's not like doing kung fu or anything. It's like very small kinds of things.
That's series 2, I think.
That's series 2. He gets his black belt.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
He's quite a good double act with Mork.
They're great together.
Yeah, quite a nice balance between Mork's quite abrasive and sarcastic and in your face, and then Ackerman's much more.
And Ackerman and Rose have a great relationship. And Rose, and Hardy have everybody. It's really important, I think, in a story. They all have chemistry, all these people, you have 2 people in a scene and it's kind of interesting. And whenever, Matthew and Kate Dickey are together, it's great.
Yeah.
It's just great. I used to love those days shooting because it was just so much fun.
And was casting them quite natural, a quite organic process, or was it quite hard for certain roles?
I don't think it was difficult.
No.
I think, once, if you know what you're looking for, and yet at the same time you're open to being surprised in a nice way, it's really easy. And I oftentimes, and casting directors hate this, I'll cast someone in the room, they'll do a reading and I'll say, you have the part. And they'll be like, wait, there's other, I'm like, no, they're right. That's exactly the right person. And like the other bad guy, the woman character, she came in and was totally different than what I had in my mind. And she was so spectacular, as you can see in the show. And by the way, as a person, the loveliest, sweetest, kindest.
No hate mail, okay. Good.
Yeah, just great, And sometimes you just know they're so good. And other people I knew from there, I cast. They didn't audition. I just knew. I mean, Mark Bonner, is going to be great every time. Kate too. You just know Kate is going to nail it. And so, but faces are really important to me. They all have really interesting faces. Rose is going to steal the show too, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, Rose is a great character.
Yeah.
She is, absolutely.
The last thing I need is another person down here hogging all the air.
I could cover old leads, take witness statements, right up.
I'm doing all that.
I'm a good digger.
A what?
Research. Digging. That's what I know how to do. And Hardy knew that. God, he was the only one who had me figured out. Took me under his wing.
Oh, did he now?
Oh, don't say it like that. The man's lying in a hospital bed. Not many men offer to help without strings.
There's always a string.
Carl, that is just disgusting.
Hardy knew your old man.
Oh.
Yeah, he was his training officer.
Hardy never said anything.
He wouldn't.
So then, Hardy would definitely want you to take me on, wouldn't he?
We will try it for one day.
Thank you, Carl. Thank you.
Shut up. I'm not done. You can have one day, and if you manage to not annoy me by the end of said day, then maybe I'll think about it.
Does writing it, knowing that you're also going to direct it, change how you approach the project? And does it help when developing characters and the plot?
This was different for me because I wasn't originally going to direct. And then I came to it late because the show kind of got put together quickly and it was after the strike. And I realized I should do this so that it's otherwise I'm up to speed and somebody else might not be up to speed. And some of the scripts weren't finished. So I was writing while I was shooting. Okay. And we shot it in episode blocks, like the first 2, then the next 3, then the next 3, which I never do. Usually it's all written and I shoot it like a movie by location. And so I was building the airplane while we were flying it.
Oh, gosh.
And luckily we were shooting it in order because if I had shot the way I normally shoot, I would have been lost. But knowing what's coming before, so I would get up very early and write. And then for 2 hours, I'd get up at 5 and then shoot all day. And then sometimes come home and write, trying to keep up with everything.
Yeah.
And so I was very mindful in this instance of production.
Yeah.
And because we were shooting. And sometimes I would say to the production designer, I need a laundry. Okay, what does it look like? Not nice. It's not in a nice neighborhood. That's all I know.
Yeah.
And because I've done it enough, I know when I see it, something, I'll see something and I'll know, oh, that's it. That has character, But it does affect the way I write. And there's scenes I hate to shoot that I no longer write in scripts, like dinner. Try not to have anyone sitting around a dinner table because they're a pain and the actors hate them, and you're shooting it over and over, and then they're resetting the food. And in Godless, I had a dinner with 19 people around a table, and we had to time the serving and the pouring of water, and it all has to match. And I go, that's it for me. No more meals unless I absolutely have to. So and if you're talking to me this way and then you're talking to someone that way, you're covering all these angles. So it matches. So you're keeping all the eye line. It's just, and everybody gets bored. You've done it 16 times and, really I have to eat more mushroom soup. That's why you see people eating. They're eating like little tiny bites.
Yeah.
Or they leave these big breakfasts on the table. Someone cooks a huge breakfast and they have a bite of toast and walk out the door.
Yeah.
It all makes sense now.
Yeah.
I would say
You're
it's
welcome.
quite cruel to write in mushroom soup specifically.
Yeah. That would be bad.
So obviously maybe not obviously, but what you're shooting that day must have influenced whatever you were writing that night. Was it quite changeable?
I was a little further ahead than that in the script. So if I was shooting episode 1, I was rewriting episode 3 or something. So I was a couple, but I didn't finish writing all the episodes until 2 weeks before we wrapped the whole series.
Yeah. I just wasn't sure if it would have had an impact on longer term storylines and character.
It does have an impact because you're seeing things in real time while you're shooting.
Yeah.
So you see, I love this character. I want to give this character this scene, and then you're writing it in. And there would be day players we had where I would say, bring them back. I want to shoot another scene with this person.
Yeah.
And the young actress who plays Kirsty, who's in prison.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. She was so good that I knew I wanted more of her. So I wrote 2 more scenes with her, including this great scene near the very end where Akram and Rose visit her. And she's so good in that scene. I just thought, this is a terrific actress. I have to keep her going.
Yeah.
If you weren't directly involved as the writer and director and had like oversight over everything, and you could instead pick to be more involved in another department in the production, which would you have chosen?
Putting you on the spot here.
No, no one's ever asked that question, and that's a great question. You're really asking, what's your favorite department?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is going to piss off everybody.
Piss off all the others.
And there is this thing too, where this phenomenon that happens in production, which I call the movie by my department, which means everybody thinks their department is the most important. And so every scene is about the prop or about the light or about the wardrobe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would say I would either want to be a cinematographer or a production designer.
Nice.
Yeah.
Something visual, without a doubt.
The police station, for example, isn't like a conventional police station. It's much more stylized.
And
kind
Grant
of retro.
is a genius. And he created these spaces that shot so well. This is a stage. The police station is all sets, all on stage.
Yeah.
In fact, 40% of the show was shot on stage. Because I learned early on that Edinburgh has all 4 seasons every day.
Yes.
And the light, it gets in the winter, it's dark by 3:30, and it's light in the summer or in the late spring, always. Yeah. So, you're going to do a night shoot in May and you're like, when's it going to get dark? Oh, 11. We just finished our day work at 4. His design, he had an idea, and I like to have a pretty limited palette of color because that's how you can control the look, or how I can control the look is I don't like too much light and I don't like too much color. I want you to remember certain colors.
Yeah.
And so I focus on that. And there's always a photograph or something that I have that I show everybody and say, this is the show. It's this.
Yeah.
And in this case, Grant came to me with the color orange, which I normally who wants to embrace orange in any situation? It's like a traffic cone.
My favorite color.
There you go. But it was so great what he did because it popped in a way. And I said, we want reds and oranges. I realized because of we're going in this other direction. But his design was unbelievably great. Every location, even the ones he didn't build from scratch, he turned into just these amazing, amazing things. He's true talent.
I'm surprised he doesn't mention it. Because Detective Mork has found many things that don't make sense.
Yeah, like why you're opening your mouth.
He thinks it could be deliberate, not suicide. Because there were no witnesses and nobody has ever been found.
I don't think that is what I think.
Merritt Lingard. She was a blunt instrument, that one. But not unlike Detective Mork.
Cheers.
There was probably a very long line of people wanting her dead.
Considering the office is essentially a toilet.
It's a toilet. It's a giant locker room. It's the shower quarters. Yeah.
No, I don't think I'd use those toilets though.
No, they're pretty
grimy.
They're pretty grimy.
In their heyday, they would have been pretty sweet.
Pretty sweet. Spacious.
Very spacious.
Great acoustics.
We cover a lot on our podcast about how people got into the industry. It's obviously notoriously hard to break into. I wondered if you could tell us a little bit about your route into.
It's pretty boring.
TV.
I didn't go to a fancy film school. I graduated from University of California at Santa Barbara, which had 8 film students, I think. And it was a film studies program. So I had no connection. I had no anything. I just knew I wanted to write at the time. And I'd written a script in school called Little Man Tate, which was my first film that got made. It wouldn't get made for some 7-8 years after that. But when I graduated, I had this script and nobody wanted to read it because who wants to read someone's script? And I gave it to a friend of a friend who said, you should take a writing class. And I thought, I have. And it was a mess. And so I realized I needed to rewrite the script. It needed to be great. And so I got a job that supported my writing. And so I was a bartender.
Yeah.
But I was young, I was very young. And eventually I got the script to someone who got the script to someone who got the script to someone who decided to represent me. And the script went out. And what was great about it is everyone said, I don't think I want to make this. I hope someone else does. But I'd love for you to write for me. I'd love for you to write something. And so Little Man Tate, which Jodie Foster ended up directing in 1990, got me into the business. I was 24 and I had an office on the Paramount lot at 24 years old. And I thought I'd been waiting forever. I thought 2 years out of college, this is taking too long.
Yeah.
And my kids are all like, now, fuck you, Dad. Because I was very lucky and I didn't know it at the time. But that's basically how it happened. I had people and then I had mentors and I had people who sort of helped me before and have helped me during. And I have had a series of amazing mentors. So very early on, I got off on the right foot.
Yeah.
And, now 4 decades later.
And how did you then sort of segue into directing and writing? How did that come about?
Boredom. I mean, I really thought I would direct sooner, but we had our family very fast. And so I had 3 kids at home and all my director friends were divorced. And so I thought I don't want to leave home yet. And I was also working with amazing directors, one after another. I was working with these incredible directors. So I wasn't in a particular hurry. And then I just got tired of writing, right? It just started to feel like the same to me. And there's a great quote, the screenwriter and novelist John Gregory Dunn said, just wanting to be a screenwriter is like just wanting to be a co-pilot. You either have to write novels or you have to direct. And my father, who was an airline pilot, I understood that. And so I just really wanted to direct. I was just tired. I needed a different creative challenge. And so I did The Lookout. Yeah. And that sort of set me on this whole other path because I couldn't go back after that.
Yeah. Were you nervous the first time?
Oh, very.
Yeah?
Very.
Do you have any tips for nerves?
Don't be nervous.
Good. Stop.
Try not to be, and to those of you who are depressed, just cheer up.
And be a good actor while you're at it.
You have to accept that you don't know everything, and you're not. I was too obsessed with not showing that I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
And I thought I'd worked with great directors and been on some amazing sets, but there's nothing like being on your own set to understand and kind of use everybody. And to say, if you know what your story is in a moment, there are times still today where I'll be shooting for an hour and I'll say to the crew, you know what? I made a mistake. We're not telling the right story here. We're telling the wrong story, and this is why. And then I tell everybody, and everybody gets excited because they all can figure out what is a better way. And by the same token, sometimes I'll arrive on set and the crew will be very excited. We have this great idea for you. And they show me a setup, which I will say, it's a beautiful shot, but it's not the right. But you can only get to that place if you realize the only thing people don't like is indecision and not being prepared. And if you know your story and you're prepared, days are going to go bad. You're going to feel the pressure and you're going to feel like it's not working, but you keep going and you shoot your way through. And my advice is to accept being uncomfortable and you'll feel a lot better.
Being a writer and also you went to directing, do you have a preference over which one you'd like to do more?
Writing is way more difficult. To write a good script that works is way more difficult. Directing is exhausting. It's mentally and physically exhausting. But if you have a good script, a lot of your work is done for you to a degree. Yeah. You are making lots of decisions and that's exhausting. People are asking you 1,000 questions every day and that's exhausting. But writing, to get a good script, I mean, if you're disappointed in a movie or a show, 99% of the time, it's not the direction or the acting or the music or the wardrobe, it's the script. Yeah. Because it's really hard to write a good one. And I've written plenty of bad ones. And it is, so that's much more difficult. That being said, I enjoy aspects of both. There are moments in my writing day that I really feel like I'm home. And the same thing with directing. They're different things. Yeah. I know after I direct, I don't want to direct for a while. I want to be home. And I know after I'm home, I want to go direct.
Yeah. Good balance. I like that.
Yeah.
And finally, any plans for a series 2?
I hope so.
Yeah?
Yeah, why don't you go write a letter to Netflix?
I've already written one.
Or tell your friends to watch the show so that more than 3 people watch and maybe they'll do another series, another season.
You're heading up to Edinburgh. Are you heading up to Edinburgh this week? Yeah.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Yeah.
To screen it for the cast and crew.
Very exciting.
And I think some other fancy like BAFTA folks or something.
Oh, of course.
I just go where I'm told.
Very nice. Yeah.
Be good to go back. Is that the first time you've gone back since you filmed up there?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
It is the first time I've gone back since we filmed up there. I came back here for a little, most of the post-production we did remotely from all over, but I came back here for some final stuff we did. I was in London, but I didn't go up to Scotland. So I'm very much looking forward to going back up there.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I'll say hello to your old mates.
Oh, absolutely.
See if they remember you.
So forgettable.
Get yourself a deep fried Mars bar. Is that sort of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Did you have one while you were up
there? I did, and someone had to give me a defibrillator.
Yeah.
How do you? I tried it. I can't say I finised the whole thing.
No, it's deeply upsetting as a concept, isn't it?
It's really, but someone thought of it. God bless him. Someone thought of it.
Well, Scott, thanks very much.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much for the time.
At the very least, an Akram spin-off. Who knows?
Yeah.
Well, my own department.
Congratulations.
Are you joking?
It's been commissioned by the Cabinet Secretary himself.
Really?
Yeah. You'll be reviewing cold cases from all over the country. There's a list here from the Crown Office. You can pick whichever ones you want. And you'd have your own contact there if you'd like.
Contact? What? So I'm lawyer?
If you'd like.
Who exactly will I be in charge of?
Just you.
A department of just me?
Oh, you have an office, whatever resources you need.
Well, I need a car.
No, we can't just give you a car. This isn't the Price is Right.
You just said I'd be reviewing cases all over the country. What happens if I get one in Inverness? Do you expect me to take a bus?
I'll see what I can do. So, can I tell the Deputy Chief Constable that you're on board?
Where's this office? Q? Where the hell's that?
Downstairs.
The offices are numbered downstairs, Moira.
I mean, downstairs.